Hello everyone, welcome to the current affairs module, and today's topic of discussion is parliament and democracy, which was recently in news as the new parliament was inaugurated by our Prime Minister Narendra Modi on 28th May 2023. In this video, we will talk about the symbol of power or symbol of power transfer which was used in the inauguration ceremony, that is Sengol. We will also talk about the new parliament's features and how it is different from the old parliament, why the new parliament was required, what were the issues we were facing with the old parliament. We will talk about why the parliament is called the temple of democracy, why parliament is important, what are the functions of parliament, and how it is associated with democracy. We will also talk about the features in detail for the new parliament. We will see a comparison between the existing parliament, that is the old one, and the new parliament, how they are different and what are the key features on the basis of which they are different from each other. And we will also talk about another debate which is going on related to the inauguration of parliament, that the president was not called in the inauguration ceremony, and there was an editorial that a parliamentary democracy or an executive democracy in India. So we will understand what is parliamentary democracy and what is executive democracy in context of India. And we will also see how the parliament, the old parliament, has performed till now, that is the 17th Lok Sabha session, till the 17th Lok Sabha session, how the parliament has performed. So now let's start with the video by understanding why the topic of democracy and parliament was in news. So on 20th May 2023, India's new parliament building was inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The work of construction started in 2020, but it got completed in 2023. We can say that the building has been inaugurated. That means the building now can be used for the parliamentary proceedings for which the earlier, that is the old parliament, was used as of now. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also said that this building, that is the new parliament, is a symbol of aspirations of 140 crore citizens and a vehicle that will drive India in the next 25 years towards the goal of developed country. As we all know, we are a developing country, and he says he has a vision that in next 25 years, India will become a developed country. That is going to coincide with the 100th anniversary of India's independence also, because we are in the time period of 25th anniversary of India's independence. He also said that this is the temple of our democracy, that is India's democracy, and it gives the message of India's determination to the world also. So that is why the parliament and democracy came into picture in the news, because new parliament की जो building है वो अब functional हो गई है after 28th May 2023. Now he also said, or we can say that the new parliament वो एक witness करेगा हमारा आत्मनिर्भर भारत, that is self-reliant India के towards जो इंडिया का जर्नी है उसको, and the new building will be the example of coexistence of ancient and the modern architecture as well as the policies, etc. So it is mixture of ancient as well as modern time period, because in the building, when you see the building, it has accommodated both the art, architecture, work, themes, etc. of the ancient times as well as the modern time. That is, the word coexistence has been used here. The new parliament building is developed under the Central Vista Redevelopment project. Now, what is your Central Vista Redevelopment project? It is a project which is aiming towards revamping the Central Vista area, that is the Indian Central Administrative Area, which is located nearby your Raisina Hill. And we can say that the Central Vista of New Delhi, it comprises of your Rashtrapati Bhavan, Parliament House, North and South Block, India Gate, National Archives are all part of your Central Vista Redevelopment project. Now, when your Prime Minister inaugurated the Parliament and he placed Sengol as the symbol of power transfer to India from British in this inauguration ceremony. Now, let's understand what is this Sengol. Sengol is derived from a Tamil word that means semai, which means righteousness. Now, it is made of gold and it was carried by the emperor during the ceremonial occasions to represent their authority in Chola Empire. So this was a tradition of Chola Empire which has been followed in the inauguration ceremony of new parliament. So it was handed over by one king to another, and this was handed over as a mark of succession or legitimacy. सो ये जो ट्रेडिशन हमने इनॉग्रेशन में फॉलो किया है, बेसिकली हमने चोला एम्पायर में जो ट्रेडिशन फॉलो होता था, एक राजा दूसरे राजा को देता था एज अ सिंबल ऑफ पावर, वो हमने फॉलो किया है इन द इनॉग्रेशन सेरेमनी। अब कुछ एरियाज जहाँ चोला राजा हम रूल करते थे वो होते थे तमिलनाडु के एरियाज या केरला के एरियाज, कर्नाटका, आंध्र प्रदेश, तेलंगाना, ओडिशा, श्रीलंका। एंड व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट चोला एम्पायर, 19th to 13th century CE इज द टाइम पीरियड जब हम चोला एम्पायर का राज्य या एम्पायर कह सकते हैं कि था, टाइम पीरियड ये था। So you can see this is a clipping of newspaper where you can see the inauguration ceremony was being held. अब हम ये पढ़ चुके हैं कि इनॉग्रेशन सेरेमनी हुआ था, न्यू पार्लियामेंट बिल्डिंग भी कंस्ट्रक्ट करी गई है, लेकिन पार्लियामेंट का हमारे लिए क्या इंपॉर्टेंस है या पार्लियामेंट और डेमोक्रेसी का क्या रिलेशन है उसको थोड़ा सा बेटर समझते हैं। सो फॉर दैट लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज पार्लियामेंट फॉर इंडिया फर्स्ट। सो आफ्टर 1947, दैट इज आफ्टर इंडिपेंडेंस, इंडियन पार्लियामेंट वाज क्रिएटेड and what it represents the expression of faith that the people of India have in the principle of democracy. पार्लियामेंट एक सिंबल है, इंडिया के लोगों की फेथ को रिप्रेजेंट करता है, जो कि डेमोक्रेसी में लोगों का फेथ है, उसको रिप्रेजेंट करने के लिए एक सिंबल इज आवर पार्लियामेंट। दैट इज व्हाई वी से दैट द पार्लियामेंट इज अ टेम्पल ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी बिकॉज इट रिप्रेजेंट्स द प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी. Now, these are the participation by people in the decision-making process. What are these principles? That the people of India are taking part in decision-making process. They are giving the consent to the government over the decisions that the government is taking. Because India में क्या होता है कि जो पार्लियामेंट में लोग बैठते हैं, that is your MPs, etc., they are elected by the people only. They are the representative of people only. So it represents that the people have a faith in those representatives that they will hold the principle of democracy for them. Now the parliament in our system has immense power because it is the representative of the people, as I just explained you. And what are the key functions of the parliament? Let's understand that. First and the foremost is to select the national government. हम लोग वोट करते हैं, इलेक्शंस होते हैं, फिर उसके बाद हम जो MPs चूज करते हैं उनके बेसिस पे फ्लोर टेस्ट जैसे होता है, उसके बाद नेशनल गवर्नमेंट या मेजॉरिटी किस गवर्नमेंट के पास है उसके हिसाब से नेशनल गवर्नमेंट चूज करी जाती है. दैट हैपेंस इन योर पार्लियामेंट. सो एक की फंक्शन जो नेशनल गवर्नमेंट चूज करने का है वो पार्लियामेंट का ही होता है. सेकेंड फंक्शन इज टू कंट्रोल, गाइड एंड इन्फॉर्म द गवर्नमेंट. whenever a government takes a decision, to control those government or to guide them that the decision is going to be right or wrong, or to inform the government, all these things are done by your parliament. Then law making. What do you mean by law making? We know the bills are introduced in the parliament. जब वो बिल पास होते हैं वो एक्ट बनते हैं और वो कंट्री के लिए एज अ लॉ काम करते हैं. तो ये प्रोसेस भी पार्लियामेंट में होता है. सो द यू कैन सी दैट द मेन procedures which derive our country or which hold the integrity and unity of the country or which govern our country are being taken in parliament. So that is why parliament of the country is very, very important. Now let's understand the other concept, that is your democracy. Now what is democracy? Let's understand the meaning of the word democracy. Democracy word का origin जो है वो एक Greek word से है जिसका meaning होता है rule by the people. That is लोग जहां रूल करते हैं. सो डेमोक्रेसी के लिए हम ये कह सकते हैं इट इज अ फॉर्म ऑफ गवर्नमेंट इन विच रूलर्स आर इलेक्टेड बाय द पीपल. लाइक फॉर एग्जाम्पल यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड वी द पीपल ऑफ इंडिया वी वोट एंड चूज आर रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स हु सिट इन द पार्लियामेंट. सो इंडिया इज अ डेमोक्रेसी बिकॉज जो रूल करते हैं लोग या डिसीजन लेते हैं वो हम लोग ही चुनते हैं, ओके, बाय द प्रोसीजर ऑफ इलेक्शन. Now parliament is the essence of democracy. Why? Because when we say that the India is a democracy, उस democracy को चलाने के लिए, उस democracy के according function करने के लिए एक institution चाहिए. जो लोग participate कर रहे हैं election process में या decision making में या government को consent दे रहे हैं, उस procedure को follow करने के लिए एक institution चाहिए. वो institution क्या है? वो institution है parliament. That is why the parliament is the temple of democracy. Now What happens in parliament basically? हमने functions पढ़ लिए कि वो गवर्नमेंट फॉर्म करती है, वो गवर्नमेंट को गाइड करती है या लॉ मेकिंग वहां पे होता है. बट वहां पे ये सारे प्रोसीजर्स फॉलो कैसे होते हैं? जो पार्लियामेंट है इट इज अ प्लेस ऑफ डिबेट, डिस्कशन, डेलिब्रेशन टू रियलाइज द एस्पिरेशन ऑफ द पीपल. जो भी काम पार्लियामेंट में हो रहा है वो बेसिकली क्यों हो रहा है? अपने लोगों को गवर्न करने के लिए, कंट्री के लोगों को अच्छे तरीके से गवर्न करने के लिए. सो उसके लिए कई बार डिसीजंस भी लेने पड़ते हैं, कई बार डिबेट भी होती है, डिस्कशंस भी होते हैं जो कि लोगों को कैसे गवर्न करना है या लोगों की एस्पिरेशंस को कैसे फुलफिल करना है उसके रिगार्डिंग. सो वो डेमोक्रेसी में पार्लियामेंट में टेक प्लेस करता है. दैट इज व्हाई पार्लियामेंट एंड डेमोक्रेसी आर वेरी मच रिलेटेड. Now, the Indian Parliament is the highest deliberative body and supreme representative institution of the largest working democracy in the world. Okay, so India is considered the largest working democracy, और Indian Parliament इसी वजह से बन जाता है highest deliberative body, okay, or supreme representative institution. So as I just explained that the aspirations of the people are fulfilled in the Parliament. The decisions, debates, etc. goes on in Parliament regarding the aspirations, that is their expectation, concerns, problem, dreams. All this takes place for billions of people living in our country in Parliament. So we can say that it is in this temple of democracy that the members of two houses of the parliament in India, that is Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, keep the executive accountable at all the times. That is, the executive members are always accountable to the legislature forever for whatever programs, policies they are making for the national welfare. Okay, so we can say that the parliament and democracy are very well connected, and they are two parts of the governance system which go hand in hand. Now we need to understand that what was the need of the new parliament, because the old parliament building was functioning well. What was the need? What were the issues associated with the old parliament? So before going to that, let's understand about the old parliament. When was it constructed? Who constructed it, etc. So the old parliament building construction began in 1921. It got completed in 1927. And who were the designers or the architects of the old parliament? Edwin Lutyens and Herbert Baker were the two people who were the architects of our old parliament. Earlier, the old parliament was called Council of House, or housed the Imperial Legislative Council. That is the legislature of our British time period. That is when India was under the control of Britishers. When we talk about the old parliament, we all know it is in circular shape. Now the new one is in shape of a triangle. The old one was in the shape of a circle, and was inspired by a Roman historical monument, that is Colosseum was an historical monument of Roman which inspired the design of the building. Now a few elements of Indian architecture such as jalis, chhatris, etc. were also added because it is going to be in Indian parliament. So incorporation of Roman influence and Indian influence both can be seen in the old building. Now we need to understand why there was a need for a new parliament. Because when we talk about the old parliament, space issues were there. Then inadequate office spaces were there, because पुरानी पार्लियामेंट में बीच में डिविजन्स करके या स्मॉल एरियाज को भी ऑफिसेस बनाया गया था, जिसकी वजह से पुरानी पार्लियामेंट थोड़ी कंजस्टेड थी. इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डिस्ट्रेस था. क्यों था? क्योंकि बहुत पुरानी बिल्डिंग है. हम एड ऑन कर करके एडहॉक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर लगा के बिल्डिंग्स में अकोमोडेट कर रहे थे ज्यादा लोगों को, ज्यादा कैपेसिटी के लिए, क्योंकि कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग की एक लिमिटेड थी. उस टाइम पे जो सिटिंग अरेंजमेंट सोचा गया था उस हिसाब से उस बिल्डिंग की कैपेसिटी थी. बट विद टाइम द कैपेसिटी हैज बीन इंक्रीजिंग. इट रिक्वायर्स मोर कैपेसिटी, मोर सिटिंग. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, वन एग्जाम्पल इज दैट इन द ओल्ड पार्लियामेंट जॉइंट सिटिंग के लिए कोई अरेंजमेंट नहीं था. अगर लोकसभा और राज्यसभा को इकट्ठा बैठना है तो सिटिंग अरेंजमेंट में प्रॉब्लम्स आते थे. सो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर इज अनदर इशू. Then concerns of structural safeties are there. Why? Because the place is in Delhi, and when this old parliament was constructed, Delhi was your seismic zone 2. But now, with the time has passed, the area has become a seismic zone 4. That means more dangerous, or it is more prone to earthquakes. But the building's infrastructure is not as per the new earthquake zones. So that is why this is another reason why the new building was required. Now another thing is that outgoing heritage. Okay, so one of the reason was that the old parliament building, when it was built in 1927, it was said it is a heritage grade 1 building. But when the time is going and time is passing on, the building is no longer able to meet the current requirements of be it space, amenities, technologies, etc. So these are the issues with the old parliament. So now let me explain this to you in more detail. So when we talk about more space, it is the old parliament was not designed to accommodate the bicameral legislature, that is both the chambers of the houses. So according to the government data, it lacks space there. Then during the joint sessions, that is a joint sitting of the parliament, limited seating capacity becomes a problem. Also, the lack of space for movement poses significant security risks, because when we say that the two houses of the parliament are sitting together and the capacity is not that much, and it is going to pose a risk भगदड़ मच सकती है, उस वजह से प्रॉब्लम हो सकती है, सिक्योरिटी रीजंस भी हो सकते हैं। और 2026 के बाद, बिकॉज द टोटल नंबर ऑफ सीट्स आर रिजर्व, दैट इज द लोकसभा एंड राज्यसभा में इतने ही लोग और इतनी ही सीट्स हो सकती हैं, वो 2026 तक के लिए फ्रीज है। उसके बाद हो सकता है वो सब्सटेंशियली इंक्रीज भी हो, तो कैपेसिटी बढ़ाने की भी जरूरत है। As I told you that the old building is heritage grade 1 building, उसका मतलब क्या होता है, let's understand that, कि जो भी बिल्डिंग है, कोई भी बिल्डिंग या फिर जो कि नेशनल और हिस्टोरिक इंपॉर्टेंस की हो, जिसमें कोई एक्सीलेंस हो आर्किटेक्चर स्टाइल में, डिजाइन में, टेक्नोलॉजी में, मटेरियल यूज में, तो उस बिल्डिंग को हम हेरिटेज ग्रेड 1 बिल्डिंग कहते हैं। वो भी किसी भी हिस्टोरिकल इवेंट, पर्सनालिटी, मूवमेंट या इंस्टीट्यूशन के साथ एसोसिएटेड हो सकती है। ऑन दिस बेसिस ओनली द इंडियन पार्लियामेंट वाज आल्सो रिगार्डेड एज हेरिटेज ग्रेड 1 बिल्डिंग। Now, because the time is, as per the time is passing on and the demands or the parliamentary activities are increasing over the years, so the old buildings age and limited infrastructure was no longer meeting the requirements. For example, I explained you space, amenities, technologies, etc. were not being fulfilled by the old building. Now, as I explained you that the infrastructure distress is there because many ad hoc constructions have been made into the old parliament, and which is making sure that the construction is becoming more congested, and essential services like water supply, air conditioning, CCTV cameras, this has led to the seepage problems in the old buildings also. So a new building is most required. Communication system was also outdated in the old buildings. Fire safety system, other safety system was also outdated, and they were posing a threat to the people working in the old parliament building. Now, structural safety, as I told you, Delhi is a seismic 2 zone. When it was seismic 2 zone when the old building was built, but now it is seismic zone 4, which requires modern seismic standards to be followed in the new construction. Now, inadequate office spaces. Why we are saying this? Because in the old building, because the space was limited, so inner service corridors, they were converted into offices. What happened because of that was they were poor quality workspaces created, plus the sub-partitions further reduced the limited spaces, and the building was becoming more congested. It was hampering the productivity and the well-being of the employees also. So we can say because of these reasons, a new building was a must. Now let's see what are the features of the new building and how these problems are being addressed by the new building. So with the new building, we can say the capacity has been increased, the space or the place has been utilized to the maximum level, modern technologies have been incorporated, and state-of-art facilities are there, eco-friendly and it is sustainable building has been created, cultural heritage, peacock and lotus flower theme, and inclusivity for all is there. These are the basic features. Now let me explain each of these features in detail to you. So let's come to the first one, that is the increased capacity. Now when we talk about the new building, now the new building can accommodate 888 members of the parliament in Lok Sabha. That is 3 times the current capacity of the Lok Sabha, which was earlier 545. You can say that the new one can accommodate 888 and the old one could accommodate only 545. Similarly, in the Rajya Sabha, the older one could accommodate 245 and the new one can accommodate 384 members. And when the joint sitting used to take place in the older parliament, it used to be having the capacity of 788. जबकि जो new parliament है, उसमें 1272 लोग इकट्ठा जॉइंट सिटिंग के टाइम पे बैठ सकते हैं. दैट इज टोटल सिटिंग कैपेसिटी जो है वो इंक्रीज हो गई है. So now let's talk about the second feature, that is optimum space utilization. Since the new parliament is triangular shape, it ensures that the maximum space has been utilized as the earlier parliament was of circular shape. Now modern technologies can be found in the new parliament. For example, each MP sitting in the new parliament house will have a multimedia display in front of it. Okay. And the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha chambers will have digitized voting system. Well-engineered acoustics will be there. State-of-art audio-visual systems are installed in the new building. So the communication system or the audio system or the voting system has been enhanced in the new parliament. Now, minister's chamber can be accessed through corridors running parallel to the triangular boundary of the building too. Now, what is your state-of-art facilities which has been given in the new parliament? State of art Constitutional Hall is serving as the heart of Indian democracy, which is placing Indian citizens at the center of the governments. And the building, it also offers ultra-modern office spaces which are equipped with cutting-edge communication technology, which promote efficacy also, security also. So you can say security has been enhanced, the efficiency has been enhanced, communication system has been updated. Now, why we are saying that the new building is going to be eco-friendly and sustainable? Because the new Sansad Bhavan, that is the new parliament, it stands as a platinum rated green building that is reflecting India's dedication towards environmental sustainability. And how are we maintaining this? Because जो construction में material use हुआ है, that is eco-friendly. It will also incorporate devices which will save 30% of the electricity. तो electricity burden भी कम होगा, electricity consumption कम होगी. Rain water harvesting systems install किए गए हैं, सोलर पावर जनरेशन के सिस्टम्स इंस्टॉल किए गए हैं, जिससे कि हम प्रमोट कर पाए रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी सोर्सेस को. अब बात करते हैं कल्चरल इंटीग्रेशन जो है न्यू पार्लियामेंट बिल्डिंग कैसे करता है. क्योंकि जो वाइब्रेंट कलर्स हैं या वाइब्रेंट एंड डाइवर्सिटी ऑफ मॉडर्न इंडिया है, जो कि इनकॉर्पोरेट करी गई है, जो भी रीजनल आर्ट्स हैं, क्राफ्ट्स हैं, कल्चरल एलिमेंट्स हैं, जो कि एंशिएंट इंडिया के हैं या हमारी धरोहर जिन्हें कहते हैं, उनको मॉडर्न टाइम इंडिया की वाइब्रेंस एंड डाइवर्सिटी के साथ मिक्स एंड मैच करके आप न्यू पार्लियामेंट बिल्डिंग में देख सकते हैं. नाउ लोकसभा और राज्यसभा जो पार्लियामेंट के दोनों हाउसेस हैं, उसमें डिस्टिंक्ट थीम्स अप्लाई किए गए हैं. लोकसभा जो है नेशनल बर्ड दैट इज पिकॉक थीम के बेसिस पे बनाया गया है, और राज्यसभा में आप नेशनल फ्लावर यानी कि लोटस थीम ऑब्जर्व कर सकते हैं. इंक्लूसिविटी फॉर ऑल, इसका मतलब क्या है? पहले जो न्यू ओल्ड पार्लियामेंट बिल्डिंग थी उसमें कुछ डिफिकल्टीज आती थी डिफरेंटली एबल्ड इंडिविजुअल्स के लिए. सो न्यू पार्लियामेंट बिल्डिंग में ये ध्यान रखा गया है कि जो प्रायोरिटाइज कर रहे हैं हम दिव्यांग दैट इज डिफरेंटली एबल्ड इंडिविजुअल्स को, कि वो भी एक्सेस कर पाएंगे पार्लियामेंट्री प्रोसीडिंग्स. इट विल इंश्योर दैट द पीपल विद डिसेबिलिटीज कैन मूव फ्रीली विद इन द प्रेमिसेस, दैट इज it will ensure the inclusivity and equal participation of all, and it will ensure that everybody has access to parliamentary proceedings. Now let's understand the difference between parliamentary democracy and an executive democracy, because this was also in newspapers. So let's understand that. Now let's understand कि parliamentary democracy या parliamentary system of democracy क्या होता है. जब हम बात करते हैं पार्लियामेंट्री डेमोक्रेसी की, तो हम ये कहते हैं कि जो नॉमिनल एग्जीक्यूटिव है ऑफ द स्टेट, दैट इज द नॉमिनल एग्जीक्यूटिव इज हेड ऑफ योर स्टेट एंड दैट पर्सन इज योर प्रेसिडेंट. जबकि जो रियल एग्जीक्यूटिव होता है वो प्राइम मिनिस्टर होता है एंड ही इज ऑल्सो द हेड ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट. आप इसको इंडिया के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में समझिए. इंडिया के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में जो कि प्रेसिडेंट है वो एक नॉमिनल एग्जीक्यूटिव है एंड ही इज ऑल्सो द हेड ऑफ द स्टेट. लेकिन हमारा रियल एग्जीक्यूटिव जो है वो प्राइम मिनिस्टर है. प्राइम मिनिस्टर इज द पर्सन हु अलोंग विद द कैबिनेट yields effective power in India. Okay, so remember, nominal executive is the head of the state and your real executive is prime minister. Examples you can say India, Germany, Italy, Japan, United Kingdom, Portugal are the examples of your parliamentary democracy. जब हम एग्जीक्यूटिव डेमोक्रेसी की बात करते हैं, एग्जीक्यूटिव डेमोक्रेसी में एक ही एग्जीक्यूटिव होता है. प्रेसिडेंट ही है जो हेड ऑफ द स्टेट भी होता है और हेड ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट भी होता है. यहाँ दो लोग नहीं है. प्रेसिडेंट नॉमिनल एग्जीक्यूटिव और रियल एग्जीक्यूटिव अलग अलग होते हैं जब हम पार्लियामेंट की बात करते हैं, पार्लियामेंट्री डेमोक्रेसी की बात करते हैं. एग्जीक्यूटिव में एक ही इंसान है. एग्जाम्पल्स क्या है? आपका यूएसए है, साउथ कोरिया है. दे आर एग्जीक्यूटिव डेमोक्रेसी or they follow executive system of the government. Now when we talk about parliamentary democracy, the role of the president is primarily ceremonial, or we can say कि he has limited responsibilities. For example, India में president is nominal executive but बहुत important person होता है. कोई भी बिल अगर पार्लियामेंट में पास हुआ है, लोकसभा राज्यसभा में, लेकिन अगर प्रेसिडेंट की असेंट जब तक नहीं मिलती उस बिल को, वो बिल एक्ट नहीं बन सकता, वो कंट्री में लागू नहीं हो सकता. दैट इज वाई प्रेसिडेंट का रोल बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है, बट येट वी कैन से इट इज प्राइमरी सेरेमोनियल. वेयरएज जो प्राइम मिनिस्टर होता है उसके पास ज्यादा पावर है. अलॉन्ग विद अपने कैबिनेट के जो मिनिस्टर्स होते हैं उनके साथ वो पॉलिसी फ्रेम करते हैं, ड्राफ्ट करते हैं, बिल्स को रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं पार्लियामेंट में, लोकसभा में, राज्यसभा में. सो वी कैन से दे हैव मोर पावर और दे हैव मोर इन्वॉल्वमेंट इन द पॉलिसी मेकिंग. The Constitution of India provides parliamentary form of government. both at center and state level. That is, center और state दोनों levels पे हम parliamentary form of government ही follow करते हैं. And the few articles of the constitution which prove that India is a parliamentary system. At center level, Article 74 and 75, they talk about the union level parliamentary system of government, whereas Article 163 and 164 contain provisions with regard to the states, that how a state is a parliamentary system of government in India. Now in India or parliamentary democracy, executive is responsible to legislature for all its policies and acts. ऐसा नहीं है कि एग्जीक्यूटिव की कोई रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ही नहीं है या वो उसकी कोई जवाबदेही नहीं है. जब पार्लियामेंट्री डेमोक्रेसी की बात होती है, एग्जीक्यूटिव इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल टू लेजिस्लेचर. बट व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट एग्जीक्यूटिव डेमोक्रेसी, executive is not responsible to legislature for any of its policies and acts and is constitutionally independent of legislature in terms of his office also. He is constitutionally independent. As per the constitution वो independent होता है, कोई responsibility towards legislature नहीं है. Now let's see the performance of parliament till now. There was another article in the Hindu newspaper regarding how the parliament has functioned till the 17th Lok Sabha session. So we can see in the chart 1 that the number of sittings in the last 17 Lok Sabha session, including the ongoing term, now you can see it was 677 and it has become 230. That is, the number of sittings has reduced. When we talk about the percentage of bill referred to the committees, that means how many bills were sent to the committees for their reference or for their recommendation. So you can see almost 60% of the bills were sent in 14th Lok Sabha. Then in 17th, you can see almost 10% are being sent. So the number has reduced here too. Now let's come to the chart 3, that is the number of bill passed by each Lok Sabha. So now you can see it has been, the number of the bill passed in the Lok Sabha has come up then and down, like in the 4th, towards the 4th and the 8th, the number increased suddenly to almost 450 and then in 17th it has decreased. Now when we talk about the time spent on the budget discussion, hourly discussion, how many hours of the discussion of budget has attracted, this has reduced as compared to the time period here. You can see the average time which is spent on the budget for discussion has been declining. Whereas in 1996, after that it has been increasing, but before that the time was much more which was spent on the budgets. Then let's talk about the time spent on budget discussion in hour. That is, how many adjournment motions were there, short duration discussions were there, half an hour discussion, how many were there. So you can see half an hour discussions have decreased very much. Then short duration discussions are on a high, then low, on a high and then low. So you can say they are increasing and decreasing. There is not much of a pattern. Adjournment motions have declined again. You can see by the 17th Lok Sabha session. Now days to election of deputy speaker, how many days were spent for the election of deputy speaker? So you can say the days were very less. It was around 100 and now it has increased to 1390. That is after the 17th Lok Sabha session. So now the number of days taken to elect the deputy speaker is 1390. So you can understand the pattern of how the parliament has functioned from the very first to the 17th Lok Sabha session by these charts. I hope all your doubts regarding the democracy, how the parliament is the temple of democracy, what are the features of the new parliament and the difference between parliamentary and executive democracy are clear after this video. So see you in the next video with another editorial analysis. Thank you.